Hello, everyone. This is Cindy from Cindy's Creative Cards, and I am happy to be with you here tonight. And I'm hoping that you are ready to do some exciting crafting, and we'll get started in just a minute. But first, I would like to say that this is March 15th, 2023, and tonight we're going to be working on a sampler with the stamp set Easter Bunny. So if you'll look down here, you'll see this is on page 52 of the mini catalog that is available, items available until the end of April, when a new one will come out in May. But this is the stamp set that we will be using. Now, when I ordered my stamp set, I was unable to get the Easter Bunny punch, which comes with it in a bundle and saves you 10%. But the punch was already sold out. So it was on back order. So I'm hoping that it is coming back in soon because I do want to get it. But in the meantime, I am going to be doing a lot of fussy cutting. But that's okay because I don't mind fussy cutting. So in this stamp set, you have, and here it is, you have 3 bunnies in 3 different positions. And you have the carrot, you have some grass, there's a flower, and you have Easter eggs, a butterfly, and a little bird. There are sentiments in this stamp set that we're not going to be using with this sampler except for Happy Easter. Now, if this sentiment does not work the way I hope it will, I do have another one from an old retired stamp set that I might use, but we'll see as things go along. So first of all, I want to show you what I mean by sampler. Put this out of the way. This is what I'm talking about. This is an example, a sample that I made for the meetup group that will be held Friday night at 7 o'clock on the meetup. And our group is, I'm sorry, I'm trying to get this position so you can see it a little bit better. There. I think that'll work. The meetup group is the Zoom virtual Stampin' Up paper crafters. So join us if you would like to do this too. Now, what you do is you decide upon your theme that you want to be centering everything around. And that what I did here is I centered on the ocean. And so I have used 1, 2, 3, 4 different stamp sets to do this. And I'm going to do another ocean one, and I probably will use more stamp sets different than this. But this is a sampler, which means that you have scenes that are created and put together sort of like a collage. And they're different sizes based upon what you want your scene to look like. So, but the main thing is that it's some either vertical or horizontal. You need to have a matting appear all the way across, so it will be uniform. I've got to cut off my alarm. Hang on. Okay, so what I mean here is that I have a 1/4 inch division here. And here is where it goes straight across. Now, if I had made this in different other jagged ways, it would not look uniform and it would not fit well together. So what we're doing here is trying to have one line that is either vertical or horizontal that runs straight across. So, and then you can do any size um, of of shape, squares or rectangles, here to fill up the space you have. Now, what I did here is I put my 12 by 12 black cardstock underneath it to mimic the frame that I will put this in. This is about 1 inch. So you have 1 inch frame that reduces this to 10 inches. So here I have this, and there's about a 1 inch white mat that goes around it. So that's going to reduce it to 8 inches. So then I wanted this to be my background for my collage, and I made sure that I had 1/2 inch running all the way around so it would show up. So we're down to 8 inches. So now we're down to 7.5 inches for the area in which you will be working. Let's see if well, actually 7 inches. This goes up to 8, and then this goes to 10, and then you have your 12. So I was off just a little bit, but you've got 7 inches here in which you are working. Now you can make them bigger depending on whether you want your mat around it and depending on if the size of your frame. This is just the size that I chose to use. Okay, so there is my sample, my example. So what I decided to do was to have a white frame for my Easter collage because I wanted it to be cheerful and bright and look like Easter, the colors of spring. So then I brought in and created my pool party mat. It just so happened that I used the same color for this background, and I left 1 inch, which will be my mat when I frame it. Okay, so that was 12, taking us down to 12. That takes us down to 10 because you got to allow for the inch on either side. So wait a minute, that's not right. 12. This is 1, 2, 3. That's 4 inches right there. So 12 minus 4, that's 8 inches. So then you have this piece, and I made sure that I had a 1/2 inch running around right here. So that was 7.5. So then the area in which I'm going to work is 7 inches. So what I did is I looked at my stamp set and I decided, okay, where do I want to place all of this? So I decided I'd place this bunny here, this one here. I'm going to place, is that what I decided? Yeah, I think so. Okay, this one is going to go here because he is the tallest. So, and this is the tallest in this direction. So this one's going to go here. This bunny I'm going to place right here. I'm going to place, the plan is to place this bunny right here. Now, Happy Easter is going to run through here, and I want to also put grass and Easter eggs. And then over here, I don't remember what I planned. So it's going to be a surprise for all of us. So anyway, what I did is after I measured how much space I would need, and I first cut out my 7-inch piece of Petal Pink. Then I decided what this space would be needed for each of these little scenes I wanted to create. And I just cut the Petal Pink cardstock apart according to that. I drew lines and then I just cut it. Now I did this earlier on the first video, but it became corrupted and just stopped. So that's why I have this already glued down. So anyway, we have this. So now what I did is I went and I cut out the white cardstock that will go on these mats, these Petal Pink mats. Let's see. This will go here. This one goes here like that. I have this one. And where is my other one? No, not right. Definitely not right. That one goes there. Ah, that's what happened earlier. I had one that just didn't seem to fit and I trimmed it down. So what I need to do is to cut another one of these. And I have a bin here with all of my white paper scraps, and I just go through it to see if I can find one that will fit the job. And this one, even though it's pretty, I'm going to cut it apart because I want to make sure. So this one happened to be 3 1/8 by, and I got my ruler wrong, by 2 1 2 3. Wait a minute. 5/8. That's not right. 3/4. 2 3/4 by 3 1/8. So I'm going to have to go down to 3 1/8. I'm going to go down to 2 7/8 by 2 1/2. So I'm going to come over here and I'm going to cut this real quick. 2 7/8 by, let me do this again to make sure. This is 2 1/2 by 2 7/8. 2 1/2 by 2 7/8. 2 1/2 by 2 7/8. I have a hard time remembering if I don't repeat it. 2 1/2. 2 1/2 by 2 7/8. Okay, now this should fit a little bit better. Yes, it does. So now I have all of my pieces that are the right size, and I have them laid down on the Petal Pink mats. Okay. So the next step is to decide where to start creating the scenes. And I'm going to start with this upper left one. Now I'm going to move all of this aside so we can work here. I'm going to have this right here. And this one, that's not working. Any other time I would find oodles of paper hanging out. Okay, I'm going to use this to put this under. All right, now I wanted to show you that I've already stamped each of these images multiple times, except for the bunnies, except for this one. It didn't turn out very well. And they have to be colored. This little bunny, and I'm going to fussy cut them because I want it to look three-dimensional. I want it to sit down on here, and I want this to be my scene. So what I'm first going to do is I'm going to create the grass that I know that I'm going to put down here. So here are the colors that I decided to work with. My alcohol markers. And each of these have got to be colored. So I'm going to start out with my Granny Apple Green. I'll slide that to the side. And then there is, let's see, this is the light one. So I'm going to start out with the light one. I'll move this out of the way. And this one I think will color. So I'm going to do the tips. I have a lamp that I haven't turned on. And when you're working with this, you don't have to color it all in. It will fill in. It moves. Okay, so I have Granny Apple Green up at the top. I'm going to bring in a little bit of the dark. And I'll show you in a minute how this with the, you can blend it. All right, I'm going to go back to my light. And now I'm going to go over that and sort of blend it in. And it really doesn't take much, because as you can see it's already blended here, and it just sort of does its own thing. Now, I know it's hard for you to see, but I'm going to bring it up a little bit closer so you can see how the colors just blended together. Now, there are a few places here where I got out of the lines. I normally wouldn't worry about that, but I do want to show you because it's not that much. And this is not supposed to be perfect. It's like a watercolor. This is the color lifter. And what you do when you have that problem is you just go right to those spots, go over it, just the spot that has gone out of the lines, and give it a moment, and most of the time it will disappear. And what happens is it makes that ink move, and so it's moving into the colored area. Now, there are some markers that it does not work with, such as your reds. That just most of the time does not work. But it has done a fairly good job here, if you can see that. Okay, so this is what I want to go across the bottom of this. And this little feller will go off just a bit, but that's okay. I don't mind that. Okay, so I'm going to put that back over there for the time being. Make sure I'm in the right place. Yeah. And I'm going to get my scissors. Now, when you're fussy cutting, I like to make sure that I keep a little white border around it. It gives it some definition, and it makes it, well, it just makes it look better. But you don't have to worry about being perfect with this. It is not meant to be that way. This is going to be sort of a fun, whimsical kind of collage. So I am going to come over here, and I'm just going to do a little snipping right here. Trying to, I'll go this way first. I'm just going to go around it. Then I'll come back and do the snipping on the inside. This will make it go faster. Now those little spots that I tried to lift, it did a fairly good job, but there's a little bit left behind. But that's okay, because when you do this, It's not noticeable. These alcohol markers are truly amazing. They create work that looks like watercolor. The first time I used them, I made a card and sent it to my sister, who was an art major in college. And she sent me a message back saying, "When did you start watercoloring? How did you do that?" And she really thought that it was watercolor. So that just goes to show that you can do a lot of creating and it come out looking professional. So we can say, "Thank you, Stampin' Up." Okay, here we go. There's your grass. So I'm going to bring this back over here, and I'm going to put this down. I could do this other little one right here real quick and include it to make the grass go all the way around, all the way across. And I've got that one. And I'm going to put in a little bit of the dark. All I have to do is just a few strokes. And then come back with your light. That's sort of the recipe. Now, some people do like to do it different. But I have found that this works really well if you follow that. And so most of the time I do. There are times when you don't need to follow that, but for the most part, it always works. And you see how quick it was just to create that grass. And with the different colors here, it looks more realistic. So Stampin' Up! Gives you in the pack, when you buy these alcohol markers, you get a light and a dark for that very reason. They're called, I think, Stampin' Up! Calls them Stampin' Blends because they do such a lovely job blending everything together. Okay, there we go. So here, now I can glue this down like this. But before I glue this down, I want to think about the background. The background, I would like to have a sky, that, and maybe some flowers coming up out of here. So I am going to get some balmy blue. Or actually, no, I think I'm going to use Pool Party so it will match. Pool Party will match what we're doing, and it will be unifying. Okay, so I'm not going to put it all the way on there, though. I'm going to put it, I'm just going to do a little marking here. Okay. Now, if I get this on here and I realize that I'm not going to glue it down just yet. If I realize that that's just too much Pool Party, then we'll go to the balmy blue. But if I put that here and I put it here and I use that as a background, let's just see what it looks like when I start doing the background. Okay. I'm going to put down this. And that'll overlap a little bit so it won't go completely off. Okay. Then I'm going to put, what happened to my bunny? Right here. This bunny. This bunny is going to be sitting in the grass like that. And I want flowers or maybe Easter eggs going around him. I'll cut out the Easter eggs individually and then paste them down. As you can see, this is something that you work at. It's not something that's going to be finished very quickly. So that's why I thought this would be part one. So I'm going to have my Easter bunny there. And then I'm going to cut this apart to show and how I'm planning. This Easter bunny, I was going to put right here. And then this little fella, who is sitting upright, I was going to have him sitting right here in this corner, holding his carrot right here. And I want him to hold that little carrot right there. So we'll be placing that. I'm going to cut out his little paw and slip that up underneath it. Or actually, I'll do it this way because it make it look like he's eating it. Now, this guy is going to have Easter eggs. Of course, I'm going to decorate them, and I'm going to cut them out and put them down separately. And I even thought about putting an Easter basket there. And we're going to have Easter eggs up here around him. Or maybe it's just going to be flowers there. This is the area that I thought I wanted Easter eggs to run here. And I was going to put, and this will have to be stamped again, I think, because of the way I had to cut it. But I wanted Happy Easter in the middle. And that shows our theme. Somewhere you need to have something that, defines what you're doing. Although it's pretty obvious. Okay, and up here, that's where I can put an Easter basket. That's what I was going to do. I was going to put an Easter basket and fill it full of all kinds of eggs in all these different colors that I showed you. So we're going to have eggs galore up here, and we're going to have more eggs here. I'm going to make sure that I have these little butterflies moving around. Definitely some here. And most probably one over there. There's a little bird as well. Where's the little bird? Here's a little bird. Somewhere we're going to have him. He may be here or on top of the Easter basket that I'm going to create. So I'm going to lay that there. And then I've got two more butterflies. We could have a butterfly right here. So, and I have one more that could be used. So that is sort of my plan for this. And it's going to be something that I'm going to work at. I'm going to be coloring this in and cutting these things out, figuring out my backgrounds in order to make this into something that I want to frame. So you understand the process now, and you understand how I got down to this 7-inch piece here, knowing that you can change the size based upon what your picture frame is going to be. But mine is, my area is the 7-inch square. And then I had the 1/2 inch going all the way around with about 1/8 of an inch in between each of the little scenes that I'm going to create. So I got started here tonight. So we will convene again, and I will show you. I'm going to color all of these little things because I don't think you want to watch me sit here and color all of these little objects. So I'm going to color them in. I'm going to get everything ready, and then we're going to paste it down in part 2. So thank you for joining me, and I hope that you understand the process of creating a sampler now. You can do these pieces on the inside any size you want. I've seen them where they did an 11-inch sampler with a 1/2 inch around, which took it down to 1 for the frame. Okay, so if they had a 2 and 2, that is 10, and 11-inch, they used and a 1/2 inch all around. They didn't do a mat, the white mat that I have. So then that take it down another inch to 9 inches. So they would have space then to probably work with 8.5 inches. It all depends on what you want to do. I've seen it done with 12 inches. Let me show you. Here are some of the ways that you could do your pieces depending on your size. Look at all the different ways. Now this was based upon a 12-inch square, which it definitely could be. You just have to get a larger frame. Your frame can come later. But there are so many different ways. Now, I've seen this done a whole lot. And in the center, they put like the Happy Easter. I've seen it done where it's put up here. And then here's another page. I've seen it done where you have an 8 by 12. This bottom part is gone. So your configuration can be anything you choose based upon your frame size, based upon your mat size, or if you want a mat. And then you can just divide everything up. Make sure always that you cut a 1/4 of an inch smaller once you get your final size for your mat. Not your mat, your inside part, this 7-inch part. So it will have the spaces in between. So anyway, I'm going to be working on this, and I will show it to you when we come back in part 2. So thank you for being with me. Thank you for watching. I hope that you learned how to do something tonight, that you gained something from this video. And if so, please give me a thumbs up. Follow my channel. Subscribe, hit the bell so you'll know when I will be uploading another video. I am trying to make my channel grow, and I would appreciate all the support that you have and can give. So until next time, part 2, dream, create, and share. Good night.